Just because you see me sitting at this table does not mean I agree with Urban League policies, nor does it mean that I am an urban leaguer. To me, you know, we have to start talking about radical change, revolutionary change. And this change, so far cannot be brought about through organizations that are dealing strictly on a superficial uh, level, coming from a reformist type bag. People who are in the vanguard of the Urban League realize that we through with integration, later for integration, we have to move to something about controlling our own destiny, controlling our own communities, controlling our own police department, having the police department coming from that community. We don't have time to be involved with trying to mingle and assimilate into a society that doesn't even want us.
I know you see that some people think that President Nixon does not speak for the entire United States. So if he can't do that and being elected as president, how do you expect for one person to speak for all of the black people in the community?
Do you feel that a coalition of these groups and individuals might be the answer to lessening the confusion about demands and cures?
I think it would lessen it. I don't think it would completely cure it, because I think even with a coalition, and I think a coalition is important, that the various segments of the community have a representative on the coalition and would come more nearly speaking for a larger segment of the community coming from a coalition where each had a representative on it. But then there are a number of unorganized groups who perhaps might miss having a representative on the coalition, who then would say, this group is not particularly speaking for me.
Effective today, Chief McNamara has issued a general order revising the system of citizens' complaints relative to the action of police officers or other problems relative to police work. This new form, we've had 3,000 of them printed now, will be made available at all precinct offices, our community relations officers, and other places. They'll be available here at this office. They're very simple forms. They will be filed, and they can be mailed directly to the chief's office, or they can be filed with a commanding officer or a desk officer at a precinct, and then they must be forwarded to the chief's office itself, where they will be processed, and the facts will be determined, whether the complaint is justified or whether it is not. This is a part of continuing reappraisal of some of our operating procedures. There will be other announcements shortly by the chief and myself relative to some of the other developments.
Is there anything being done to improve the public relations between the Portland Police and the Portland residents?
Oh, definitely, yes. We're constantly re-exploring this in our training program, in our operational program, and this is one step in that direction to make, sometimes people make complaints and they feel that they're bypassed. We want to avoid that type of thinking on the parts of any of our citizens.
In terms of the purposes that we established, that is reduction of class sizes in our schools so we can do a more effective job with those youngsters who remain in the program, and providing an expanded educational and particularly social experience for the youngsters who were transferred to the suburbs, I think that it has been, on the basis of a first-year experience, highly successful.
Have the suburban schools themselves felt that there was a benefit?
Yes, most definitely. There's been value to our children in associating with white youngsters from the suburban schools. There's been a definite value accrued to the white suburban children from their experience with black youngsters. The host family program, wherein our youngsters are matched with white children and their families in the receiving schools, has resulted in a great deal of family contact between Albina neighborhood families and suburban white families. It's been a very healthy thing.
The same 4 districts, David Douglas, Beaverton, Lake Oswego, and Park Rose, are involved this year as they were last year. Why aren't more districts, suburban districts, involved in this program?
As you recognize, most districts have problems of their own relative to student enrollment, particularly suburban districts. We're also limited by the financial resources that are available to us because we do pay tuition for our youngsters in the suburban schools.
What about the parents of the children who are being bused from the model school area to the suburban schools? Has there been any hesitancy on their part to enroll their children in this?
The only concern that the parents have expressed to us is the time factor. You know, it's very difficult to provide busing that's pretty much in keeping with children's sleep schedules. And our children, some of them, leave this area at 7:55 a.m. in order to be in the suburban school on time. So this is really the only major difficulty we've had. Parents are appreciative of the new schools. They're especially impressed with the newer buildings and the finer physical facilities that suburban schools seems to have.
Because the injustice pointing to at Roosevelt exists throughout the Portland public school system, and not solely at Roosevelt, the Black Coalition is calling for a total boycott of the Portland public schools as of today, Tuesday, January the 20th, 1970. This boycott beginning today is to last until the demands of the Black Coalitions are met. The demands of the Black Coalition boils down to, and henceforth will be referred to, as amnesty, decentralization of the school system, number 3, a monitor from the black community on the school board, number 4, removal of all police from the school, number 5, curriculum changes with the black community involved in such changes.
Today is the anniversary of the birthday of Dr. Martin Luther King, a man who lived and died for civil rights. These people, most of them black, some of them white, are marching today in honor of Dr. King and also to protest recent racial disputes at Roosevelt High School.
overcome great nations. Men with dreams have built.
But what's happened today really proves different. It proves that the support lies right.
For two reasons. One is that I came to listen and learn. It seems to me that any person aspiring to public office has a responsibility to listen to the complaints of its people. The second is that I've been concerned with the problem of racism in our schools for a long, long time. I consider myself, and I guess I'm considered by others, to be an expert in the area. I wanted to listen to the grievances and wanted to see what, any way I can be of some help.
I don't think that today that nobody's listening to the people. For instance, all summer long, I could see what was going to happen in Model City, and I talked to everyone I knew that I thought was of influence. They all listened very politely, but nobody heard. And I'm just not now talking. This thing has been going on for a long time. I began talking about 8 years ago. People listened then. They still didn't hear. I was a leader of the group that was fighting for the Daisy Williams housing project. That was 8 years ago when we first started. We have had thousands of dollars spent in our area since that time. We have not one stick of low-cost housing.
What do you feel you can do if you are elected?
As a member of the city council, I think that I could talk to the commissioners who are in the position to do something about it.
We are urging all students to return to school, and we ask that the students who have been suspended or expelled to have their parents contact the principal of their school and try to work out ways to be reinstated. If you do not receive a satisfactory answer, please contact the Albina Neighborhood Service Center. We want you to know that calling off the boycott is by no means a discontinuation of the Black Coalition and its efforts to bring about necessary changes. We acknowledge that uniformed policemen have been removed from Roosevelt School, although plainclothes policemen still exist there. We also acknowledge that the superintendent of school recommended decentralizations in his recent proposal presented to the school board. We hope that this can be a foundation to be built upon. We are yet gravely concerned that although the superintendent of school admitted that racism does exist in our present school system, neither he nor the members of the school board have offered any immediate plans to solve this urgent problem. Another issue that we will be negotiating. We do not expect
every citizen in this community be treated equally the same by the law.
I'm going to ask the Multnomah County Grand Jury to investigate the facts and circumstances surrounding the shooting and the arrest of Albert Wayne Williams yesterday afternoon on Northeast Union Avenue. I had already instructed my staff to prepare this matter for the consideration of the grand jury before I was asked to do so by Chief of Police Donald I. McNamara and Mr. Nick Chavot, who is the attorney for Mr. Kent Ford, who I understand is the leader of the Black Panther group in this community. Now, we have the names of most of the people who were present in the area at the time of this incident. However, there are some who are not yet identified, and I wish to encourage anyone who was in the vicinity or who has knowledge concerning this particular incident to come forward and to present their testimony before the grand jury. The grand jury will be convened tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., and it will hear testimony as long as there are witnesses or persons present who have any information that could be of help to the grand jury in determining the truth and the facts in this case.
Well, I don't think it's a setback. How can it be any more of a setback when a few months ago he made a statement opposing integration? You know, and so he comes out and he says he's going to do everything he can to slow up integration of schools, and it didn't work. So now he says he come out and he opposed busing, and this is a setback. Everything this man had done and said could be looked at as a setback, you know. But at the same token, you know, most civil rights leaders that will come out and attack Nixon for what he says didn't attack LBJ, and LBJ didn't say it, nor did he do it. You know, LBJ never came out and said he was against integration of schools, but Mississippi never integrated. A lot of people say that Carswell's nomination is an insult to black folks. Carswell's nomination is an insult to all decent thinking folks all over the world. And I think the fact that Nixon picked a Haynesworth and got him rejected and reached back and picked a Carswell is a reflection of what type of president white folks decided to put in office this time. And I would say personally we're doing better under Nixon than we are under anybody else, because this is the first time we had a dumb white boy in the presidency. And see, something about black folks' mentality that those slick folks we can't deal with, like the Kennedys and the LBJs. But we made more progress with integration of schools in the last 2 months than we've done in 15 years with all of them slick ones in office. And all I say is I just wish we had about 50 more Dick Nixons to run for the governorship all over the country and get them in office, and we would own this country in a week's time.
Yes, we were charged to find if there was any evidence to indict Officer Harmon on any charge, principally that of using undue force in the apprehension of Albert Wayne Williams. We found that Officer Harmon could not so be indicted.
Do you feel in your own mind that the grand jury heard all possible testimony from all possible sources and sides in the case?
Well, as you gentlemen from the news media know, there was an open invitation to any who wished to testify, and we were available. And we heard all that knocked at our door.
It is quite common for presidents, statesmen, writers to receive honorary degrees in law and letters, and many institutions have bestowed the honorary degree of humanities upon one of its benefactors. These honorary degrees are the means through which the institution shows it recognizes for the individual and in the individual the contribution that they have made in the field of their endeavor and choice and in the use of their talents. If honor is given for achievement in the field of earthly endeavor, how about entitled to recognition for his accomplishments in the field of service to God and humanity?